You are welcome. Wonderful morning to you all, and you are welcome to the mathematics class. So in today's class, we are going to start our discussion with the indices, the logarithm of numbers less than 1. But there are some things that are likely to pose some problem that can result into some issues if one is not very careful. And that is the issue of negative numbers. Negative numbers, as far as indices is concerned, is not really termed negative numbers. We don't call it minus, but the term we use for it is what? Bar. So whenever we have a number written like this with this symbol on it, what it means is -3. But we term it bar 3. We term it what? Bar 3. So if it is above 2 also, so the meaning it has is that what? This is -2. But in order to pronounce it, you know, everything has a way of what? Pronouncing something. So the way this thing is pronounced in this aspect of logarithm is what? It is interpreted bar 2. And bar 2 has the same meaning as that of what? -2. But what we actually want to do is, how do we carry out some algebraic expression? How do we carry out some basic addition, some basic multiplication, division? Because if one is not well versed about doing these manipulations, so it's likely going to do what? Going to affect all we want to learn in what? In the logarithm. So before we now move into the real what we have under the logarithm of numbers less than 1, so it is very important we do what? We go through all this, we learn this thing and understand it very well. So I am now going to start with the first example on the board. By my first example, I have the solutions. By my first example, what I'm asked to do there is to add bar 5.1 and bar 3.4. So that becomes bar 5.1 plus bar 3.4. Adding it is more or less the same thing as what? Ordinary addition. So to do this is to see 1 plus 4. That gives what? 5. So the decimal point. But here, it means bar 5 plus bar 3. Now if we are to interpret it, the meaning it has is -5 plus -3. So pronunciation wise it is called bar, but interpretation wise we refer to it as what? As being what? A negative number. So to do this we can do the short working here. Bar 5 here means -5 plus bar 3 here means -3. So that means -5. You can see plus and minus here gives what? -3. And what's the result of -5 minus 3? That's -8. So, which means our result is going to be what? Bar 8. And that completes the first solution to the first question. So in the B part, what I have there is bar 3.9 plus bar 2.4. So adding this one follows the same procedure as what we did here. 9 plus 4 here gives 13. So 3 is going to be written. Remember, we are going to carry 1. So this now becomes 1 plus minus. Okay, let me put it this way: 1 plus bar 3 plus bar 2. So that is the pronunciation. But the meaning, when we are to give it a meaning, is to say that what? 1 plus -3 plus -2. So we can show that one here. 1 plus -3 plus -2, and you can see plus and minus gives -3 there, plus and minus there also gives what? -2. And what is 1 minus 3? That gives what? -2, which is -4. But remember, -4 will be written in this aspect of what we are doing as well, bar 4. So here what I'm going to put is bar 4. And that also completes what? the B part of the question. So which means bar 3.9 plus bar 2.4 gives the value of what? Bar 4.3. So in the C part of the question, what I have there is 4.9 minus 6.3. 4.9 minus 6.3. So to do this is to say that 9 minus 3, that gives what? That gives 6. So the decimal point here. But what is 4 minus 6? So we can see the result of subtracting 6 from 4 gives to us what? A negative value. So negative value this time around is called bar what? Bar 2. That's the C part of the question. In the D part of the question, what I have there is bar 6.3 minus bar 4 point what? Bar 4.5. So to carry out this one is not different from what we did in the example C above. So 3 minus 5 here gives, it is impossible to say 3 minus 5. So what we are now going to do in that case is, we run to this number to borrow 1. And we can see the number here is a negative number. So for this one to give us 1 now, it shows that this number now becomes minus 7. So what we are doing is this. The number is minus 6. Whenever we borrow 1 from it, so we know what will happen to this number is that this number will reduce. Just like if it is ordinary number, let's assume the number here is 4. If we borrow 1 from 4, what happens to 4? You know 4 becomes a number smaller compared to the original number by what? By 1. So this number will become this number becomes minus 7. So this is now going to be what? Treated as minus 7 while it gives out what? 1 to the 3 here. So if I now say 13 minus 5, that gives the value of 8. Remember this is now minus 7. So minus 7 minus 4 is what I have here. So I can say minus 7 minus 4. Minus 7 minus times minus there is plus what? Plus 4. And what is minus 7 plus 4? You can see that is minus 3. So which we are going to call what? Bar 3. So that is the D part of the question. In the E part of the question, what I have is bar 4.7 minus bar 3.9. So 7 minus 9 here too is not what? It's not possible. So for it to be possible, we will run to this one, to this number to borrow 1. So it becomes 17. But what will happen to this number? This number is no longer to be bar 4, but it will rather reduce by 1. In order to really picture how this number reduces, is to make use of what? A number line. So we can say this is 0. Since I'm interested in the negative number, so I can say minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, and so on. So if we have cost to borrow 1 from this number, what happens to this number is what? This number become reduced. It reduces, its reduction means that what? We shift one more step or one more point to where? Leftward. So since it is minus 4, and if we borrow 1 from this number, what will happen with this number is that this number becomes reduced. And how do we know this number reduced? That means we move to the nearest number on this in the number line which we have here, and the number here becomes minus 5, or what we can term what? Bar 5. So we can now go ahead with the subtraction. What is 17 minus 9? I have it there. And here means minus 5 minus minus 3. So remember minus 5 minus minus 3 gives minus 5 plus 3. Plus minus times minus here gives the value of plus. Minus 5 plus 3 is minus 2. So with that we have bar 2. So I'm going to call it, going to end this session, and I shall continue with the solution to the remaining question in the next video. Thanks for joining the class.